Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt
And I'm
Roast.
Jessica Bun Bun.
Welcome to our new edition of Big Brother 27 live feed spoilers. This is day 19 in the game. It's veto day,
Hmm.
but we have a lot of drama to talk about today because why wouldn't we have a lot of drama? That is what we live for.
Absolutely. But before we get too far into this, just want to let everyone know I'm leaving for the airport in a couple of hours to go to Bulgaria.
Yeah.
I'm adopting a son, so I'm going out there to pick him up and bring him home.
Yeah.
We are planning to still do live feed updates. I am bringing a laptop with me so that we can like Zoom from Bulgaria, but that means that they may not be on the exact time that we normally do them.
Yeah.
And once my son is home, it's a toddler, so expect the unexpected of when they're going to actually show up. They are still going to be daily, but we're going to be having to kind of work around that schedule. And there's a huge time difference between Bulgaria and here. I think it's like 10 hours or something
Yeah.
like that. So we are still going to be bringing you live feed updates, but they may not be at the same time every day.
Yeah, it's all you said it just right. Expect the unexpected here. Jess is an unbelievable trooper, by the way. It
Oh,
is
thank
her
you.
her pure love of the game here. That's right. You give yourself a high five for still wanting to do this, even though you're in a completely
No,
different country.
I
But
do. It's an interesting season. And I mean, yeah, you're out of the feeds for a week, then you're just kind of lost. Like, I can't let it go, man.
no, especially with these people. And I mean, we have so much crazy stuff to talk about today,
Hmm.
including, of course, did Rachel try to cheat during the head of household competition? This is a conversation that happened. So, of course,
Hmm.
we have to break that down.
Yeah,
We'll
we do.
talk about nominations, the aftermath of that, everything leading up to the veto, and just crazy game decisions kind of flying all over the place.
Hmm.
But all right, before we get into anything more here, be sure to hit that subscribe button because we are here with daily Big Brother
Hmm.
27 live feed updates as we have discussed. And we have so much fun hearing what you guys have to say in the comments. This has been a very enjoyable season so far. And let's just all continue to be in the mess together.
Yeah, thank you so much for hitting that subscribe button. It really helps us out here on YouTube. And if you want further Big Brother discussions, you can head over to our Patreon where we're also talking about Big Brother. I'll leave a link for you below.
Thank you guys so much. We very, very much appreciate that.
All right, let's get into the Rachel of it all.
All right. Okay. So here's what happened. So, like yesterday, Riley and Keanu are having this conversation and they're chatting with each other. And this isn't really a situation where one of them is bringing the news to each other. They're both talking as though this is something that happened where during the head of household competition, which obviously, it's not on feeds, we'll see it play out on Sunday, that
Mhm.
Rachel tried to cheat by writing down various notes that I guess she could then use. Now,
Yeah.
there's a lot to question about this, including how exactly did she write down things? Like, they don't give these people pen and paper mostly for this reason.
Yeah, I don't know how she would be writing anything down, but at the same time, even though I don't really trust Riley or Keanu, they are also just talking to each other and they're not bringing the information to each other. It was like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. Me too. I can't believe that she was writing things down. Then they talk about production a little bit where they're like, did you see production had to come in and take it away from her? I can't believe that she was cheating and that they didn't do anything about it. They didn't kick her out of the game. And I'm sitting back being like, okay, let's tinfoil hat. Let's
All right,
say
all
that
right.
Rachel was writing something down. Production did do something about it. You said that they did. You said that they came and they took it away from her, and that's what they did about it. They didn't do nothing.
Okay, let's just also make it clear here that I think there's about a 99% chance this is not shown on the Sunday night episode.
No way.
Yeah, because here's the deal with a lot of it. Because I know this question gets thrown out there all the time. Like, is Big Brother rigged? Is reality television as a whole rigged? And the real answer is not directly. And I'll get a little bit more into this, where it's just like the outcome of certain things is the outcome. Like, I'll be real with you guys. Like, I feel like production wanted me to win my season of Beauty and the Geek, and I'm not just
Oh, I
gassing.
think so too.
Yeah, I'm not just gassing myself up. I think that is the case. And even at the end of the season, I would argue there were things put in place challenge wise that would have favored me. But at the same time, I choked. And it's just like I couldn't finish the job, so I was eliminated. And it's sort of like in Big Brother 13 when they did the whole duo do-over twist that allowed Rachel to do the same HOH again. It's basically, yeah, I think production probably wanted Rachel to win that, but if
Mhm.
Rachel fell off, Rachel fell off. So
Right.
I don't think they're necessarily rigging anything for Rachel, but I think at the same time they might favor her here and there, but it's still her responsibility. But because Rachel did not win this head of household competition,
No.
as we all know, Lauren won this head of household competition. I think they would have only done something about Rachel or shown something with Rachel if it was a situation where she was actually going to win. Because it doesn't change the outcome, they're probably just going to gloss right on over it if it happened.
I feel 50-50 that even if she won, that they would do anything about
Oh,
it
really? Okay.
further. Yeah, like I think they don't want to have any type of situation that has one of their winners caught doing something like this, and that they'll just find a way to kind of wash it away, that it was like, oh, she was writing something else and it didn't have anything to do with this, or what. They will find a way to make it be something that it's not, because while us live feeders would have heard stuff like this, we're a smaller group than the casuals that are out there that watch this show.
I just think this could all eventually be added to the great and long running lore of Big Brother tinfoil hat theories related to competitions, where obviously Helen Was Pushed is the most famous example of this, but there's so many over the years. But I think another reason why we can't like totally discredit these two dudes who, as you said, not the most trustworthy dudes to all of us, but at the same time, in this same conversation, Keanu basically told Riley, it's just like, I know you're really close to Catherine, bro, but game wise, she got to go. And it's just like, if Keanu is going to be willing to be so not self aware to have that conversation with Riley, then I think it's probably fair to say, okay, these guys aren't really monitoring what they're talking about with each other. So there's a pretty good chance this probably happened.
Yeah, and it also feels like they either noticed or gave each other a look or whatever, that they both saw it happening at the same time, because like we said, they didn't go to other people and are gossiping about it. They're talking to each other about it first, to be like, did you see that? I saw that. We saw that, sort of thing. So because it's a private conversation and it's not trying necessarily to torpedo her game, it feels more like, I can't believe that this happened. I can't believe that production didn't kick her out, or that there was harsher consequences, or whatever was there. It feels a lot like they saw it, and this is the conversation afterwards.
Ultimately, one of the big takeaways from all of this, other than just like, Rachel, why are you doing this? It's just that I think that Riley and Keanu, they are not exactly known for having their eyes wide open in the game,
Hmm.
but I feel like they're going to be more aware than ever now that while production's not rigging it for Rachel, at the same time, they're probably going to overlook some things with Rachel because she is the star of the show at this point.
Yeah, and the other thing I'm kind of wondering at this point is who else saw this, and if it's only these two, where most people don't trust what they're saying, are they gonna actually go and tell other people and use it as gameplay to be like, we need to get Rachel out because production really wants her to win. We saw this happen. Production came in and dealt with it, but they didn't actually kick her out of the game, and they should have, because she was cheating. So we all have to just get her out. We have to band together and band against production and get her out. Is anybody going to believe them if they're the only two people that saw it, and we don't know if other people saw it too?
Yeah, that's what makes all of this really, really tricky. But to your point about whether or not they're going to use this as game moving forward, they almost absolutely will, because it's like
And they should.
yeah, and we already know that Keanu wants Rachel out more than he wants to breathe and live every single day. So this is just like more fuel to his fire.
Yeah.
But okay, all right, let's get back in a time machine now, because let's go back to the start of yesterday, because this kind of ties into something else here as well.
Okay. Beep, bop, 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 boop. Okay, we are yesterday.
All right, yesterday morning here, Ashley is already upset about Rachel because she's having these conversations about sleeping arrangements and all these other little things that she feels like Rachel is micromanaging. And we already know Ashley is upset about Rachel dating all the way back to when Ashley was, forced to clean, which isn't exactly accurate. But at the same time, her whole point here is that she feels like Rachel runs the house. And if she's talking about this, and then Keanu and Riley are talking about this through a different lens, like eventually all of this could lead to people being frustrated enough about Rachel that they just make a move for this very reason.
For sure.
All right. So also yesterday we had round 1 million of people being upset at Keanu because they didn't want to hug him, which this instance was Rachel not wanting to hug him yesterday morning mostly. She said the equivalent apparently of, I don't want to hug somebody who's not a friend to me. And Keanu, I understand you're a hugger in life. You can't keep doing this in the game, man. It's just setting yourself up.
Yeah, I'm half surprised that production hasn't spoken to him about it, because they would have spoken to people about other things if it's too much physical touch, on unwanted physical touch. And I
Yeah.
know he's not doing anything like that, but if you've got people in the house that don't want to be hugged, they do have to say something, not just production, but it's tough because Rachel did say something, but now, their game was already cantankerous, to call it lightly.
Yeah, I know.
But this is obviously not going to make it any better. It's almost like the house just needs to come together and be like, everybody be okay with everybody's personal space. Or if it's getting to that point, then it's time for production to step in. But production never steps in because they want it to be messy. They want
Yes.
people to fight. So they want Keanu to hug everybody to the point that finally Rachel's like, stop touching me.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be the case. It's sort of a situation here where I feel like if there was something going on that was more sinister, production probably
Correct.
would step in, like you're saying. But yeah, it's just he's making people uncomfortable. This is fuel to the fire for potential nominations down the road. I mean, I think it's one of a billion reasons why people want Keanu out, because he's just irritating people because he doesn't understand any social cues at all.
And no personal space. Like I've said this in these videos,
Yeah.
I am not a hugger. If I meet you, don't come in for the hug. I'll go for a handshake.
Yeah.
But like, I got to build up to it. And, everybody is different. Keanu likes to hug people. I don't want to be hugged. So, you gotta feel it out. You can't just do what you want all the time. Sometimes you have to give what other people want.
Here's the part about Keanu that I continue to just really not understand at all. And I tried to defend you at times, my man, but it's just, he seems to trust everything with the guys and not trust anything with the women. And like a good example of this is just that Mickey told Ashley and Will that apparently Keanu approached Jimmy and said that Mickey and Morgan, those two are starting stuff. And that's the reason that Keanu and Jimmy can't get along. It's not because Jimmy wants Keanu out the game. It's not because there's an issue between the two guys. It's that, oh, it's these other women. It's like Keanu's blamed Rachel for a lot of things. Now he's blaming Mickey and Morgan for things. Mickey has at times stood up for Keanu. Not all the time, but she has been nicer to him than some.
Yeah, I mean, if I was to say that this is just gameplay to run over other people, I'd be like, okay, but this just feels like he's just not taking accountability for his part in the breakdown of him and Jimmy. And
No.
because Jimmy had a part and Keanu had a part.
It-
And other people had parts too, trying to break them up and get them to fight and all that, and that's fine. But most of it is these two men that had these problems and that have created this problem between each other.
The problem here is that Keanu lives in Keanu's gym. And I think the number one rule of Keanu's gym is that he is the personal trainer. He's the mastermind. He is anything and
He
everything.
is the hugger.
Yeah, he's the hugger. In Keanu's gym, the rule is Keanu knows everything. And unfortunately, Keanu has not left his gym in a good while. Okay, so a big narrative for a lot of yesterday was just that Lauren could not make up her mind when it comes to that third nomination. We had said in our Friday morning update that it was probably going to be Kelly, Keanu, and Will.
And it is.
Yeah, like ultimately we got there, but the whole Will part of it was just this huge agonizing struggle. And it's like, maybe people won't hold this against Lauren long term, but I think her indecisiveness can be a little bit frustrating for other players. Like, she went back and forth on a lot of things. Like, Will heard from Kelly before he even heard from Lauren that he could be going up, and he was mad about it. He was just like, I don't want to be a permanent pawn. I didn't come into this game to play this way. He said the equivalent of, if I'm just going to go up every week, I might as well just go home. Which, I
Well, I'm team 50, but don't be talking like this. It's
yes.
so frustrating.
Like, I think he is just frustrated. Like, I don't think he actually wants to leave, but I think he
No.
is just, he's an emotional guy at that point because I don't think he wanted to come into this game and be singled out as the oldest person in the game. But I think, unfortunately, Will, you need to have a little bit of the self awareness that if you are 50 years old going into Big Brother, this is going to be what happens to you. They're not going to cast a lot of 50-year-olds in this game.
Yeah, I mean, the other issue is nobody does go into this game to be the ultimate pawn. It's not
No.
why people are there. It's just unfortunately what does happen, and you have to just find a way to adapt. That's what this game is about. If you can't adapt, you go home. Like, and if that's what's happening to you, you're going up multiple times, you need to not crash out like it sounds like he did. You need to find a way to be able to maneuver it in another way to stop you from being the ultimate pawn, because this happens every season to somebody.
Yeah, and Will is a good social player, and I think that's the reason why, even with him on the block, he's probably going to be safe almost no matter what because
Right.
people like him. He needs to be a better strategic player when it comes to having conversations that get him out of this scenario so that people actually are afraid of putting him on the block, because I think that's one of the reasons why Will was up there in the first place over other people like Ashley, who was talked about, where there was a fear of, oh, if we put Ashley on the block, is Ashley going to be upset, or are people close to Ashley going to be upset? And Will just ends up being lumped into this, oh, he's the easiest option because who's going to really be that upset over Will? And yeah, Will's going to be mad, and Lauren was worried about that, was worried about the Bond Alliance getting exposed and all of that, but it wasn't enough to like ultimately dissuade her.
Yeah.
Now, there was at least some conversation to try to get this to change. Like, I mean, Rachel went to Lauren at one point and was sort of being like, there's an alliance that's running the game, and Jimmy and Vince are a part of it, like conveniently leaving out her own spot in the heavy hitters, of course, but just trying to do whatever to drive a little bit of a wedge between Lauren and maybe Vince. But I think at the same time, there was no way that Lauren's ever going to nominate Vince this week.
No, this is just a waste of everybody's time. It's the same thing of going to her and being like, you know who really needs to go up? Catherine. And so like, what? No. You know who really needs to go up? Zach. Okay, she's working with Zach. Like,
Yes.
it's very obvious who she's close with. So I mean, no, that's not the way to go. The person that I was wondering that she was kind of, flip flopping a little bit, but back and forth on is Adrian. And
Yep.
Adrian is somebody we talked about yesterday who is starting to circle around Vince, who is somebody for Lauren that she's like, oh, you're one of my top people, my number
Yes.
one sort of thing. That to me, if I was Lauren, I wouldn't be looking at Will at that point. I'd just be looking at Adrian. And because Adrian is also close with Kelly, what happens if Adrian is not on the block and he gets picked for veto and he wins veto and he takes off Kelly?
Yes, it's that. This is why, our love of sweet Adrian, who is not good at the game right now. This does not cause us to be blinded from the truth that Adrian probably would have been a good nominee here. And it seemed like at one point,
Yeah.
Lauren was actually kind of seriously thinking right before the start of nominations that she was going to do this, but then it seemed as though she got called to the diary room and she didn't have a chance to talk with Adrian. Maybe this is the reason Adrian wasn't put up. There might be a little bit more to it, but yeah, I think the biggest thing is just you don't want to be in a situation where if Adrian is a potential target, he wins that veto, he takes Kelly. This makes the week a lot more complicated for itself than it really has to be.
Yeah, you're taking a gamble that he doesn't get picked. And he may not get picked, but if he does, and
Yeah.
if production really wants to watch the house burn, maybe they'll put in 15 Adrian tokens. I'm kidding, that's not a thing.
It's a legitimate fear too, because then you add on all of this. Okay, what if that happens? And then what if Keanu then wins the blockbuster? And then it's just like, okay, who are you getting out at that point? Ashley? It's just sort of like all your other options are starting to kind of fall apart. So the nomination ceremony happens. You alluded to Will's supposed crash out earlier. Zach has said this. Who knows if we'll see it on the show or not? All we can say is that we were watching feeds the moment that the ceremony was over and feeds came back.
Yep.
It was so awkward.
Yeah, it was pretty tense. So I feel like this crash out probably did happen in a glorious way that just made everybody very uncomfortable.
Will's face after all of this, him just like sitting there and sort of stoically looking, it sort of was like to me when I felt like I was gonna go order pizza from like my favorite local place, and then I found out that that place was closed because a lot of the places near me was closed recently, and I would just sit there being like, too. I would be that salty. But that was Will's no pizza face, and he had this for a little while. At first, Lauren kept her distance. I think she understood. Eventually, though, her and Will came around. They had a conversation. Will hasn't blown up the Bond Alliance as far as we know.
Mhm.
I think they're gonna be okay-ish. Will's smart enough to sort of know I can't ruin my whole game by just being mad all week.
Yeah, no, but I mean, maybe this crash out will stop him from being a pawn next week.
Yeah, I think it's fair for him to get upset enough so that people stop doing this because they're just
Yes,
like, I don't want to deal with this anymore.
exactly.
Now, for now, it seems like Ashley could be the likely replacement nominee. I think it's just something to kind of keep in the back of our head. Obviously, things can change. Here's the part of it that makes it really, really interesting to me, which is that Lauren actually told Kelly at one point yesterday that she wouldn't mind if Keanu stayed. Now, okay, why? Okay, I'm gonna do a. There's an NBA broadcaster named Brian Windhorst who one point came on the air and just did this like, why would they do that? Why would? And it's because he knew information that he was like something weird's going on here. Why is Lauren doing this? I think Lauren's doing this because you're not going to tell Kelly this if you want Kelly to leave the game because
Right.
that's just like terrible gameplay.
Yes.
Is she saying this because she actually wants Ashley or someone else out of the game? She just can't really do it yet?
Yeah, I feel like she wants Ashley out of the game and that she's been waiting on it. This is, a bit what we talked about yesterday. If you want Ashley out, you don't put her up right away and give her multiple opportunities to take herself off the block. And also, you don't want her to have a full week to destroy your game and destroy your reputation in the game. You want to get her out very close to when actual eviction is happening, as close as you can, so that it's a shorter amount of nonsense that you have to deal with and that she just has a shorter amount of time to destroy your game.
There's a very evil part of me that wants Ashley to go up on the block and then Ashley to win the blockbuster because number one, I feel like Ashley
Yes.
will dance around the house and just be like completely over the top with it, and then the mess that follows that, like that, I will feel for Lauren, but at the same time, I wouldn't feel for Lauren if that actually happens.
No, I'm here for the mess. I would absolutely love it if that is what ends up happening. You guys know I am rooting for Lauren. She's one of the people I'm rooting for, and Vince. It's just, I love mess so much, and I love watching the show when it gets really messy like that, where you have someone who's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get this person out, surprise!"
Here's just another important thing to remember here is that Lauren seems to really value Vince more than almost anyone. Vince
Yep.
really wants Ashley out of the game.
Yeah.
So that's just something to kind of keep in the back of our minds here for a little bit.
Yeah,
Now,
they're working together.
Adrian, in a further series of questionable decisions for Adrian, it seemed like everything we said about a concern for Adrian going in to the nomination ceremony was valid. That, okay, wouldn't he take Kelly off the block? He's saying now that he wouldn't. He's saying now that he would take Will off because he feels like that's a way to hide how close he and Kelly are, even though everyone kind of knows how close the two of them are.
Take your allies off the block. Take them off the block. I don't understand this. There's no reason to hide this at this point. Kelly's going to go up every week anyways. It doesn't matter what you do at this point.
Okay, so we've spent a lot of time as of late dogging people for their questionable moves, and deservedly so. We want to be florists for a little bit here, so we're going to give some flowers to Ava, who, I've loved since pregame, fellow lover of hats, Ava.
Mhm.
So I love how she is handling Lauren. Like, I think it is exemplary because even before nominations, like, yeah, there was this question, is she mad about Will going up because of their alliance? She went to Lauren and she was basically like, no matter what you decide, I trust you because at the end of the day, I'm going to be so grateful that you're not putting me on the block. And I just want you to know that I don't take that for granted and that I really appreciate that. So I'm not here worried about game. I'm worried about you. And it's just, Ava is so good at making other people feel like they are the main character. And
Mhm.
that's what a lot of personalities in Big Brother are like. They think that this is their hero's journey, if you will.
Yeah, there's actually quite a few people this season that are really good at stuff like this. We've talked about Vince being able to mirror people. Ava's really good at making other people feel important in the way of asking how they're doing,
Yeah.
sort of thing. And Lauren's really good at asking people for advice, which makes people feel really good about themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, she wants to know what I think? Okay, then what I think must be important. That's really cool that I'm important to her, that I could
Mhm.
help her. There are multiple people in this game that are very, very good at
Yes.
making people feel important.
Like right now, I would say the odds of Ava lasting long in the game are higher than probably any other house guest. Now, I don't sit here and I'm not saying that Ava's necessarily playing the best game. I mean, we've talked a lot about how good your guy Vince has been doing.
Yep.
I think Ava eventually she's gonna have to make some more direct moves if she really wants to win. I just think she's so set up so well because everybody just likes her and she's just done a great job of making other people like her. Yeah, she doesn't like Keanu, but nobody really seems to.
Yeah, but you can win the game being likable. Like, I know that it is the new era of Big Brother where they're like, well, what competitions have you
Yeah.
won? But that's not to say then that you still can't find a way to win the game without doing that, because the biggest part of this game is social. It is how you are with people in the house. And it is definitely how you manage that jury. And that is the most important. Jimmy could be out here winning all the HOHs and all the vetoes, take Ava to the end and lose, to her, because she's been able to manage the jury a lot better and they just don't want to give it to him.
Okay, it's time now that we hop aboard the plane. Like just like you're hopping aboard the plane here to go to Bulgaria.
Yep,
We're
in like 2 hours.
we're hopping aboard the plane here with Kelly. And Kelly, there's some turbulence in the air. I'm sorry because okay, she had this conversation with Rachel, and Rachel, she's taken it upon herself, and we've talked about this with her conversations with Keanu, where she's just trying to be a mentor. She's trying to be there for people. You can't be there for Kelly because Kelly does not know how to handle it.
She also, like, I really like Rachel. I love watching her. She's such fun TV.
Yeah,
But this sort of like mentor or mother figure, someone who's been in the house before, who has won this game before, trying to take people on and mentor them. I understand it if you weren't actually all playing the game, but I kind of wonder if it's starting to get under people's skin, because you've got Kelly who's not really enjoying it. Keanu wasn't really enjoying it. They also are Big Brother players now and they want to have their own journey. They don't want to have the curated by Rachel journey.
yeah, and I think there are moments in Rachel's conversation with Kelly where she might have thought in her head, I'm doing a good thing. I'm meaning well
Of
here. Because
course.
she's like talking about, Kelly, you really need to try to win the veto here. You could go home if you
Yeah.
don't. She like really tried to emphasize that. But then she also was like, Kelly, do you want to win? And that question feels a little bit condescending to me, if I'm being totally honest. Like Kelly said, yeah, of course, but Kelly has no idea what a winning game is because apparently she's only seen a single season, which I do not think is a shock to any of us at this point.
Yeah, I mean, she may want to win, but even if she hasn't seen a bunch of the other show, we've seen people who are recruits before make
Yes.
it all the way to the end, like Paul, right? Like, it's you're able to do it. The problem here with Kelly is that she's not being completely honest, because at the beginning of this season, she was kind of like, it doesn't really matter if I win. I'm, here to do whatever I want
Yeah.
whenever I want, right? So it's the problem is calling it out. You can't really go up to people and be like, I know what your game is. Are
Yeah.
you really here to win? Who are you to ask me that?
Well, and so regardless of what Rachel's intentions were with this conversation, Kelly has now spiraled and gone and told multiple other people, including Keanu, including Vince, that Rachel told her that nobody likes her, that
Oh,
she's
right.
going to be leaving the game. She's just like blowing this. way out of proportion. She tells it to Ava, but for some reason she doesn't tell Ava exactly that it's Rachel, who says like somebody has been telling. Well, Rachel's gonna find out about this, and Rachel
Yes.
is going to yell at you, and I will be here watching it.
Oh, absolutely. She's just going to yeet you right into the sun and you're going to deserve it because this is not what Rachel said. This is not the way that Rachel came at you.
Yeah.
You're making this into something that it's not.
No, it's really, she's just such a frustrating player. Like, even Adrian at this point is like, I like you, but I don't know if I can even be around you
I
game wise
know.
anymore. And it's not like Adrian is the model Big Brother player.
No.
All right, we have a couple more odds and ends here before we wrap everything up. So, Rachel and Ashley, it seems like they're kind of trying to find their replacement for Amy in their alliance, and they're slowly pulling in Mickey. And what's interesting here is that it feels like Mickey and Morgan, they've been a duo. They're kind of starting to separate a little bit, and I think some of it is just due to the fact that Morgan plays a very aggressive sort of way with how she talks to people, but Morgan's also being very, very close with Zach. She's got a
Right.
crush on Zach, and I think Mickey is worried that at the end of the day, oh, now I sound like Beast Mode Cowboy, but anyway, I feel like she's worried that when the chips are down, I'll put it that way, that Morgan is going to choose Zach over her, and she doesn't want to be in that position.
Hmm.
I think what makes this hard is that Morgan already knows about Mickey's power, and Mickey
Right.
actually confided in this, and it's just sort of like, I think they still kind of sort of have to be close for that reason, and I feel like they kind of ultimately will be.
Yeah, I mean, if Mickey wants her power to work out, then that's kind of how she's got to be about it. She has to be strategic to, if she doesn't want to be that close to Morgan anymore, that's fine. But you have to play the game and you have to keep her okay and you have to make her comfortable that she thinks that everything is just fine. And when Mickey ends up using this power, at least we hope that she will, she has to use it in a way because so many people do know about it that is going to benefit the people that know about it. And that way she can use it and it will work. I'm just not sure if it's going to end up working or not.
I am already convinced this power is just going to be a wet fart, and if it happens, I will be pleasantly surprised. I like twists when they're fun to watch. But anyway, another point of tension here potentially. It seems like Mickey wants Kelly out of the game, Morgan wants Keanu out of the game, and it is kind of crazy that even if Keanu stays on the block this week, as long as Kelly is there with him, it's not a guarantee that he's evicted. Like, somehow he could stumble his way into another week.
Yeah, he could.
Okay, so finally, Vince overnight really went in with Lauren and told her some of the stuff that Zach has been saying, including that he was cast for her in this game, or she was cast for him, I should say. And it's just, he's poured a lot of this information into Lauren. Lauren already knows it's Zach's and him. Like, I don't
Right.
think anything's that surprising. Like, she
No.
had kind of a weird look on her face when she was hearing some of it. But I think for Vince, one, yeah, he might be being messy. I think the other thing is I think he's trying to get it in her head that's like, even if the hypothetical situation comes up where you get into a showmance, and as we've said, it doesn't seem like Lauren's interested in that,
No.
but he's just trying to make sure that he remains her number one no matter what.
That's all this is. He's just trying to make sure that they are together, that he is the number one over Zach. That showman's thing is not happening.
Yeah.
She has said multiple times she is not interested in him. Vince, I don't think, is actually worried about her getting into a showmance with him. I think he's more worried that because Zach will do anything for
Yeah.
her, that she will see that as a bigger ally. Because if someone's going to do anything, kind of burn their own game for you, then like why wouldn't you have that person as your number one? And they are a big threat in the game, and so they're a great shield to get to the end. But I just feel like, for her, I think that Vince is more of the number one.
I do too. It's just people have weird circular ways of talking about romantic situations in the
Right.
game. And like the final example of this ultimately is that Zach insisted to multiple people yesterday, oh, he's not trying to lead Morgan on, but he won't have the direct conversation with her. So like my
Right.
tinfoil hat thing here is that I think Zach is just trying to tell this to enough people that somebody goes and talks about it further with Morgan so that he doesn't have to, so he's not the bad guy, that he's hurting Morgan or breaking her heart, or that he doesn't have to endure any of the game damage personally.
That's it. It's the game damage. Like, this is the tricky thing about people that are interested in people and you're
Yeah.
not interested in them in the Big Brother house. It's still a game that you're playing. And while, he doesn't want to lead her on, at the same time, he doesn't want to become a target because he's not interested. And sitting down and having we're good as friends kind of talk with somebody and you're stuck in the house, there's nowhere to go. I mean, that's really what this game is and
Yeah.
why it is as messy as it gets.
And with that, let us all hope for more mess today with the veto and all the fallout there. But thank you guys for hanging out with us on this edition of Big Brother 27 live feed spoilers. Everyone wish Jess a safe travels
Oh,
in the
thank you.
comments. And, we are so grateful that, you guys are supporting us and that you've hit that subscribe button. We are getting closer to 75,000 subscribers, which is a milestone that we've been dreaming about forever.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it really is.
And if you guys do want to support us further, be sure to join our Patreon. That link is in the description. It's a great way to help continue to support us. And we'll talk about Big Brother over there as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And we'll see you here next time.